King of Boys, The Return of the King. Now, the King of Boys really need a sequel. That's what we'll be tackling in this, and everything that was included in it, and whether it did justice to the original property that was released in 2018. So, let's rock. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the channel. This is GVN, where we review movies, series, comics, animations, and video games. If you're yet to subscribe or this is your first time, either way, please click the subscribe button. It helps the channel out. We also release trailers regularly on our Instagram page. You can check that out too. Now, today it's all about King of Boys, The Return of the King. The King is Eniola Salami. Eniola Salami played by Sola. We did an amazing job. Sola did an amazing job portraying Eniola Salami from the very first movie. And I'm going to start from there. So first of all, very first movie, it was 3 hours, 2 minutes long, and I watched part of it. I really liked what I watched, right? But I did not finish it for some reason. I just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. So when I saw that the trailer for this one was getting was out and it was getting released on the 27th of August, well, I knew that I had to watch the old one, the 2018 one, and then watch this new one. But I knew nothing about it. Absolutely nothing about it. I didn't even watch the trailer, even though we posted it on our channel on Instagram. I avoided it because I really wanted to avoid all the spoilers that I could. So before watching this, I had to finish the first one. I started around 24 minutes in, so I spent almost 3 hours on the very first one. That was like the quick backstory, and I'm glad that, I had to do that clearly in order to understand this properly. And even though this was a story of Eniola Salami, played by Sola, it was also a story of Nuruddin Gobir, because it was a Gobir story of him being the newly appointed guy in charge of the NCCC that was also trying to tackle organized crime and all of that. So it was the two of them, side by side, and we saw how all of that played out at the end of the day. A lot of the guys that were casted in it, from the Are to Il Bliss Azodogu to Alaga Ibile Reminis, everybody came with their A game, and it was amazing. So getting a sequel was understandable. People understood why. I'll say one thing though, as much as I enjoyed the first part, I enjoyed Adesua Itomi's character in it. It sucked that she died. I enjoyed everything about it. One thing that felt like a really, really bad letdown for me was the VFX. The parts that involved gunshots and blood, and even the fire scene, that entire part of the third act felt like a cop-out, because the King of Boys ended up relying on the generosity of the cop that did not want to play that dirty game, but she was beaten. She wasn't a criminal mastermind at that point in time, right? She was beaten. So I saw this as a sort of comeback story for her too. One where she gets to show everybody if she's truly, truly that King of Boys, the chairman, the Oga of everybody. And I was really looking forward to that. So now, we move into this part. The first part, which was a feature film, was 3 hours, 2 minutes long. So you can imagine how long King of Boys, The Return of the King would be. Funny enough, I had no idea how long it would be. So this was me that I had just finished spending almost 3 hours watching the very first part. And then I was like, okay, time to watch the second part, because I didn't know anything about it. I honestly thought it was another feature film. So I was expecting, okay, maybe another 3 hours. And to my shock, on Netflix, I saw 7 episodes. The first 6 were 60 minutes, while the last one, 72 minutes. I was like, the hell? That's 7 hours of my life. I was like, okay. So I had to steel myself to say, let's watch this, let's break it down. I prepped myself. I got my amala with begiri and ewedu and my bottle of water. And I was ready to just go all in, because I knew that it's going to take a lot of my time and I needed something. So since there was no popcorn, that was my thing. And well, here we are. So let's start off with the parts in the trailer that was shown. Oh yeah, and I have to make this clear before moving along. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. It's going to have a lot of spoilers in and out, because I am here to discuss it. I'm going to be here for a while discussing different parts of the series that that I loved and I appreciated, and the parts that I just did not like, they just sucked and were terrible. So I'm going to be discussing all of that. So here is your spoiler warning. You've been warned. All right, moving on. She's back. GVNNaija. And why did I remember that name? Because it's a real place in Nigeria, and clearly they were also sort of sponsors because they had to be mentioned, which was something I noticed a lot. A lot of product placements, especially with Guinness. Everybody wants to have a drink. They will even take Guinness over water. Hey, look, subtle advertising, as long as it does not get in the way of storytelling, it's all well and good. So that happened, and she came home. GVNNaija, welcomed her home, and yeah, it's pretty much like a child to her because her two kids are dead, Kiton and our other baby girl, Kemi, they're dead. So it's her and GVNNaija. Now clearly, they started with a scene where she was torturing herself, right? Making herself feel more pain over the loss of her kids. Now here's the thing. Personally, if you are a bad guy, if you decided over the course of your life, I mean, different things have led different people to do different bad things, but if you decide over the course of your life to climb to the top or to be that person, I mean, I remember in the very first movie, she said when people pray against the devil, not to meet the devil, they are actually praying not to meet her. So she has said it that, I am death incarnate. I am the devil incarnate, right? Now, this is who she is. This is who she has established herself as. So you see, all of that part of her grieving and crying and putting herself through pain and all of that, I was just rolling my eyes because, you are evil. Like, let's be guided. And one of the reasons why I like King of Boys is it reminds me of Avengers: Infinity War. Any good villain story, Joker, any good villain story that is told well is one that people will enjoy because it's not just about the good guys winning. I mean, we live in a world where the bad guys equally win. So when you're telling a villain story, then you tell it and we will watch it if you tell it well. So see that entire part, because personally, after watching all 7 episodes and spending 7 hours plus of my life on this series, I feel it should have been just 5 episodes. Like, a lot of the scenes were drawn out unnecessarily. A lot of the parts where she was grieving. I don't care if you are grieving. I don't care if you had 5 kids and they all died. You are evil. See, you've made other parents lose their children, right? You've made other children fatherless and motherless. So when you lose yours, you don't get to grieve and try to score sympathy points with us. That was my very first issue with it. Like, really. Of course, Sobowale, she played the role very well, and all of that was amazing. But you don't get to do that because it just sucks. It's unnecessary, it's irrelevant. And, now speaking of Sobowale's character, Eniola Salami, I loved, from the very first part, having a younger self, and then that younger self also playing a much more pronounced role in the series. Tony Tones, I'm going to say it right off the bat, you are my MVP for this series. Like, if they're giving out awards for best supporting character, I think you deserve it because she killed the role, like she murdered the role. There were scenes where, someone said something to Eniola Salami's character, and then Tony Tones would just be like, Amy, I was like, yes, all that energy. And something I truly appreciated about the series also was the sound design. When she says, when she's talking, and then she gets really pissed and riled up, you can tell that with that extra effect added to her voice, right? You're like, I really dug that. I mean, the part that gave me goosebumps in the very first movie was that part after she lost both her kids and she was in a detention room, and our past self was talking to her. The chief was there with his kid. Adesuwa's character. All of them were there, right? See, when our past self was talking to her, man, Tony Tones, she murdered that role. Like, she took the role and she just pieces it. I really loved the way she did it in the first movie. So I was looking forward to seeing more of her in this series. And She did amazingly well. So that is one that I really did enjoy. And this is all still from the very first episode, right? So she's grieving her kids, she's talking plenty, she was whipping herself with koboko. I was like, what the hell is all of this? She went to the grave sites to mourn them, crying plenty. The part that's shown for me in that particular episode, in all of that, was her past self telling her that, yo, we've got to draw blood because these guys drew our blood first. You know, immediately she came, she announced that she was going to run for the governorship position too. Immediately she came and she mentioned that. I thought, okay, yo, all right. She has this kind of, you know, ghost story in power. Now, Ghost came up from the streets, right? But he's trying to go legit. He wants his money to be legit. He wants his life to be legit. But it doesn't mean when it's time to be brutal, Ghost isn't brutal. And I saw a lot of that parallel in Eniola's character, right? So I was like, okay, yes, you are going legit. But even though, yes, I know this is fiction, but even in real life, we know where so many times thugs get in the way of the electoral process. So yeah, we get it. You're still going to be queen of or king of the underworld while you're still giving a legit face to things. So that was what I thought she was going to do. But then what did Mama do? Mama pretty much ignored her role in that part of the world. I mean, Ade kept telling her, like, yo, he kept telling her, like, Ade Tiger kept telling her, Mama, this is happening. Mama, that is happening. Mama, Odogu is trying to reach you. Now, I get the part where she was icing out Odogu because she was like, she gave him a crown to take charge of, and dudes just royally messed the entire thing up. So I get that part. I get that part of icing him out. But you still have people that are loyal to you on the table. And Odudu Bariba's character, played by Charlie Boy, was already taking over a lot of people that are loyal to you. You should do something. See, honestly, I feel if you are the titular character in anything, every other character is a supporting character, right? So they get to excel the most based on what your character does. Now, it takes nothing away from Sola Sobowale's performance. It was fire. It was on point for a lot of it, right? But I feel the way she was written in a couple of instances had flaws. When she had confrontations with Nseikpe Etim's character, Jumoke, it was amazing. And speaking of Nseikpe Etim's character, Jumoke, she did really well. You know, she's that kind of woman that you actually want in your life beside you because she is your pillar, she's your support structure, she's there for you, like she's your woman. And I really like that. She was playing the First Lady of Lagos State to Lord Frank's character, Governor Rando, and she did really, really, really well in that role. More on her later. But now, back to that same episode 1. So that Eniola's character was ignoring everything that was happening in the underworld side of things, and a lot of people that were loyal to her, of course, they started switching allegiances because Ade said it, like, your soldiers are ready, but they don't have an order. They don't have a direction. You know, it's like the military. Without the order from the general, everything will scatter. Even if you guys are 500,000 and your enemy, 50,000 people that are receiving every second orders from their own general, they are going to wipe you guys out. And that was what was happening to her. And for some reason, I get it that you are still in mourning. I get it that your kids are dead. But you have to understand something. You came back to a place where you have enemies. Yes, we get it. All the charges were dropped because it wasn't even a pardon. If it was a pardon, like she said, she wouldn't be able to run for a public post. So the president that she helped to get in there was able to pull a lot of strings to get them to drop all the charges. So all the charges have been dropped. And then you come back, but you know that you have enemies that still exist. So yes, even if you want to go the legit route, what stopped you from going, that's your underground route, the underworld route, and taking care of business there? So I think that was a major character flaw on her side because her people kept moving around, not having a direction. And yes, she was trying to secure this person's approval and that person's approval and the market woman approval. Oh, and speaking of approval, RMD's character, the priest Ifeanyi. Now, it's interesting because I remember when Netflix first introduced that they're in Nigeria. You know, so, and I'm not trying to say this to ruffle any feathers. I've done some work in the industry and I intend to do some more. But when you see Netflix in the US, even if you see a movie that has, say, a Charlize Theron, you would not see another A-list actor with her in that movie. So it's not a movie where you see Charlize Theron, Al Pacino, Will Smith, and maybe a couple of other A-listers, Robert De Niro, like all of that. It's very rare. And if they make a movie like that, they make a really big deal out of it, right? When Netflix said they were coming to Nigeria, the people that I saw were the usual people. And I was a bit turned off by it because I was like, while I get that the Nigerian market would probably need to see these particular faces before they watch something, right? There are so many other people that know their shit that are in the Nigerian market that just needed platforms like Netflix to actually get to do stuff. And I'm concerned and I wonder if these people are also still being thought of, you understand? And the reason why I said that was when I eventually watched the trailer before watching this series and I saw RMD in it, so I was like, we are seeing more of the usual suspects in this sort of stuff. It gets tiring, that's the truth. A random person could play a titular role in a movie and based on that person's talent, that person could just be the next big thing, but thanks to that role. Look at Stranger Things, the US Netflix. All those kids, nobody knew them, and they played all those roles beautifully well. And I can go on and on and on, but I just had to bring that up because it was something I also noticed in this series, and it was like, it was following the usual Naija pattern of movies that you just see, Film One is behind it, and you know the normal people that you should see, or maybe Anaclay Productions, or maybe Ink Blot. You just know there are some people that you just see in all this type of stuff because. You know, I thought it would be different for Netflix, but it wasn't. I was like, well, I guess that's how Nigerian works, so it's fine. But yeah, RMD's character, the priest, you know, her, that's Eniola's character trying to get approval from him and all that. She was neglecting her people in the other world. And say what you might about it, but that's a big character flaw because you don't expect to keep commanding loyalty of people that you are not loyal to. See, it's one thing if you don't always want to meet with them, but you're sending messages across. But Adetiger keeps telling you this is happening, and that is happening, and that is happening, and that is happening, but you are not telling him what to tell the people. Like you are just saying nothing. Okay, now we're moving on to the next episode. We talk about, okay, see, there's this episode where Adetiger tells her, okay, she says he should say his mind. What does he think about race for governorship, or gubernatorial ambitions? What does he think about everything she's doing in general? And he told her his mind. Like, a dude poured out his mind. Titi Kuti, hats off to you, man. He poured out his mind and he said everything. And I was like, yo, you are taking your eyes off the ball. Like, this is what is happening. That is what is happening. And at the end of the day, everything is going to fall to pieces because the vultures are circling in, right? And what did she say? She said, come and eat. Okay, after saying come and eat and they had their gist, next thing she said is, okay, then he asked her a question. He said, what becomes of me when you become governor? Her response to him was, you can be anything you want to be. I was like, the hell is that? See, Sobowale is an amazing actress, right? There are some roles that would define you as an actor. You know, the same way you will see, whenever you see Robert Downey Jr. now, you see Iron Man. Whenever you see Chris Evans, you see Captain America. Chadwick Boseman, may so rest in peace. We see Black Panther, T'Challa, the king, right? Tony Tomato, if you're a 90s kid like me, Super Story, that was Sobowale. And now this role also is one that both us as millennials and even Gen Zs will see her as, right? This was a role that resonated with so many people in so many ways, and I feel she was written poorly in many areas. Okay, take an example. Imagine if I was given that script to write, that particular line to write, tell me what was wrong in doing this instead. So Adetiger asks you, when you become governor, what becomes of me? What would have been wrong if she said, you become the king of the underworld, I become the king in the eyes of the public? So I am the governor, you're handling things in the background for me. Because do you know the reason why I said that? If you remember at the end of that conversation, when he said you can do anything you want, what did he say? He said, Janduku Nimi, I'm a thug through and through. So it's not even all about that posh, fancy life. Dude is all about that underground life. Like, that's what he's all about. So I'm like, what is, you can do whatever you want. And then she said, yeah, you've not eaten your meat. And then he now go away, he will not eat meat before his elders. She now cut meat, gave him, she now chopped meat. I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what kind of cop-out line is that? I think, honestly, of course, even all these Stadio Gidon movies and all that I watched growing up, I think it's in this King of Boys that I've read the most away in a movie or series in my entire life. They were just using away as cop-outs in some areas. In some areas, they really hit the mark. I'm not going to lie. But in some areas, what was the use of that? Dude said, what will become of him after you become governor? He said he can do whatever he wants. What is he can do whatever he wants? It's like, how does that help the story move forward? And that's what I said earlier, that the way your main character is treated is going to affect the way all the other characters are treated. And speaking of the way characters are treated, one that I really liked was Chief Rando, that's the mother-in-law to Jumoke. I had to look for her name in the credits so that I can actually mention this. Her name is Taiwo Ajayi Lycett. Now, she was this posh, classist, narcissistic, you are beneath us kind of woman. And I really like that. See, remember I mentioned earlier about using unknowns, right? For me, she's an unknown, but she's an unknown that knows her craft. That could have easily been a role given to Joke Silva. Not taking anything from Joke Silva. I like her, she's amazing. But I'm pleased that she did not have to take that role and be that person. Instead, this woman, Taiwo Ajayi Lycett, she took the role and she murdered the role. I really, like, this was episode 4. I really enjoyed the way she acted out the character. Because she made it clear that, yo, I know who you are, like Jumoke, I know who you are, I know what you do, but I allow it because it helps my son. You are good for my son. This version of you is good for my son. But if you fuck up, man, you're out. I really loved that. Like, I loved the way a character was introduced because she did not need to make too much noise for you to know that this woman is power speaking. Like, this woman, she speaks it, she walks it, and she has everything to back up a statement. And you know, clearly she was the one that introduced Jumoke to Are. And speaking of Are was a ton of fun. I liked him. I mean, this was clearly someone that at the end of the previous movie is now in jail, right? But then even in jail, he was able to still make things happen and make life unbearable for Eniola. And I really liked that. I really appreciated that about him. Now, the meeting between them and him making things happen, and then him finding out that while Jumoke was while Eniola was away, he was unknown to Ade Tiger. He actually did some jobs for Are, and you know, now they were holding that over him as a sort of blackmail in order to make him keep doing their bidding. So it was like the closest person to her, whom she already considers a son, ends up screwing things up for her. And speaking of screwing things up for her, Dapo, the writer dude in the Conscience newspaper. So here's the thing. When I saw Dapo, and I saw how his character was introduced in the first season, or in the first episode of this Return of the King, I realized that, okay, the same way we had Gobir in the movie, this is our Gobir. But this is our Gobir that doesn't have the law behind him, but he has the paper behind him. So he's this guy that is all about the truth, and clearly it has affected life with his family. While I really do not agree with how that has messed up his family life, I accept it. Hey, conflicts and all that good stuff, as long as it supports the story. Now, there was something funny. And I guess it was just a case of guilt, because when it was explained later on, you know, for Dapo's character that it's the reason why they lost their daughter in the car accident and all of that, and then him and his wife married on the rocks and everything, you know, picking his work always over their marriage. Hey, whatever. it's his life. I wasn't really invested in the Dakpo character. I don't know whether it was the actor himself or the way it was written, but I was just like, whatever. It was just that, really. I think because I've not formulated different directions for what different characters would do in my head at the time of recording this video. But I mean, if there's something you guys think that could have been done better with him, you can drop it in the comment section. We're always happy to see your comments and also respond. But moving on, Dakpo's character was introduced in a way that made it clear that this was the Gobir. This was the one that would now do his best to try to bring down Eniola Salami and any other person that gets caught in the crossfires. And who else was getting caught in the crossfires? The president, who was, in a way, Eniola's bitch. And I really like that about her because she was exuding power. You know, who remembers that scene where Eleanor pretended to be the emir and she came to the hotel to see the president? You know, first and foremost, when I saw that entourage, I don't know if you guys had that thing in your head, but the first thing that came to my head was that Dorime song with the old door opening, one person go open another door, one person go open another door. I'm sorry, I know it was a serious time in the series, but I just remembered it and Dorime, Amen, was playing in my head when the entire thing was going on. But now, when I saw that this was an emir, maybe they were not trying to conceal it, but the moment that thing happened, I was thinking that was Eniola pretending to be an emir, trying to see the president. And she played her cards right, and she got her way into their party. And I loved the way she was written in that press conference where she made Dakpo look like an idiot, imbecile that does not know what he's talking about. I really liked that part. Like, it was written so well. Like, so well. So now, moving on, and here's what I'm doing with this breakdown. I'm talking about all the different characters and how they all intersect with each other. So, Ilbli's character. Now, Ilblis from the previous movie, that's Odogu, he unloaded a lot of rounds on Makanaki, Reminisce's character, right? Like, he wasted him, and then he even came face up to him and pow, like, wasted my guy. Now, he did all that, and now in this series, we find out that, okay, Makanaki is now alive. Odogu is being ghosted by Eniola. She's giving him the cold shoulder, and now he finds out that he's alive after he murdered some of his boys in a gruesome manner, I must add, but he did that. And now, I mean, we saw the girl with the sword going all gangster and shit on people. And the thing about the Odogu character is, I think it was done dirty. I think it wasn't written properly. And it ties into the way Reminiscence's character, Makanaki, was written. Okay, so here's the thing. Makanaki, in the previous movie, kept saying that this woman has stopped caring about us. She's more focused on other things. Why should she be our leader? Instead, I will be the leader because I am more focused on our things. That was the reason for their conflict. Okay, so that's established. Now we move on. We are in this series, part 2, even though it's a series. She's still doing the exact same thing, thinking what? She can get away with it. I'll be honest with you, I'm just going to say right off the bat, I don't think Eniola Salami is the mastermind many people have thought she is, or the movie, and in this case, the series, thought her out to be. Here is why. You say you're a mastermind, right? In the end of the first part, it was an act of kindness from an officer that does not want to be part of that corruption and does not want to be used as a tool of someone else's death. That's why you survived, because the guy gave you money and said, disappear, don't come back. If not for his kindness, I mean, you were in a burning building, you would have died. And you were able to say, I deserve to die, blah, 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 blah. You were beaten, like you were gone. Now, some people might argue that, yes, it's because she lost her kids and all of that. Yeah, then that should have been the end of her story. Because now she's back, she's done grieving, and guess what? She's making the same exact mistakes that put her in the place she was in the first movie. Okay, tell me, isn't that the definition of madness in the first place? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? So the lack in her ability to inspire loyalty in her subjects was a huge character flaw in the first part. Now, you could say Makanaki was overreaching, right? But she was going down the same pattern in the second part. And it looked like she had no focus for like I'll say the first 3 episodes, up until the 4th episode, when it now looked like, oh, she was getting focused. And that's the episode where, she met with the president and she forced her way into his party and all that. Now, we are moving forward and we see that, okay, the characters are all progressing with their different conflicts with each other, right? Jumoke is doing her thing, being manipulative and just trying to get things done. Now you see that her own character, whom we are all there to watch, realizes that, oh, okay, it looks like she's winning, but she needs to take out these people, finally. Now, one of her major strengths, which played out, was she knows where to find whatever body you've buried. If you have a body that is buried, she will find it. And she showed that strength, and I liked it. She showed that strength where she found out that, yo, this is your past. So if you think because you've done all of these things and you've rebranded yourself, you went to the abroad and now you've come back, you think, I don't know about your past. I know about your past, and I can use it against you at any point, so behave yourself. And it turns out that it was just like a weak plot device, because at the end of the day, yes, she mentioned it, but it was never used. I mean, think about it. After that point, when the two of them faced off against each other, it was never brought up again. And there was no hint of it being used later on when the entire thing blew up in their faces, right? Now, we move on. After that particular scene, and this next scene is one that I had to watch and break down so that I can discuss with you guys. So they are ambushed, right? There's a lot of shooting back and forth. One major issue I had with the very first movie was the VFX. But I was like, it's a Naija production. I don't know what their budget was also, because these things are not cheap. VFX isn't cheap by any means, rather. So I don't know what their budget was. So I was like, yeah, it passes, right? And this is like hats off to Kemi Adetiba, because after Genevieve's Lionheart, this is the second Nigerian Netflix original that I'm aware of. If there's one before it, can you let me know? But this is the second Nigerian Netflix original. So that meant Netflix was proud to put their name behind this. Oh, and also something I have to mention before moving ahead. Normally when I use my VPN, I just set my location to the US, because there are some YouTube channels and some other websites that you won't have access to unless you're in the US. So I'll just do that, right? And I noticed that I could not access King of Boys, the series, that's Return of the King, on the US Netflix. So it's not on US Netflix. It's on Naija Netflix, but not on US Netflix. I also checked UK Netflix just for comparison's sake, so that I'll talk about it. And it's on UK Netflix, and there's a rating on it. There's no rating like that for Naija, but it's rated 15 on the UK Netflix. So I guess they just figured there are a lot of Nigerians in the UK and of course Nigeria, but it's not in Naija Netflix. So if you're in the US and you're trying to watch it, you have to change to Naija or maybe the UK in order to watch it. But now, this is a Netflix original, like I said. And see, I don't know what the budget for this thing was. I mean, maybe, I don't know, 15K per episode, 15M per episode, or more or less, I don't know, right? But here's the thing. It's always best to do practical effects over VFX. So whenever you can, just do practical effects. It saves a lot of energy. Yes, the preparation will take some time, but when the preparation is done, the output looks really good. Christopher Nolan is like gangster when it comes to that. Inception, the room rolling and everything, he did a lot of that. Now, why am I saying all of these things? See that scene where they shot at each other? It was terrible. And this is me being nice. It sucked. Guys are shooting at each other, right? Yes, you put some bullet holes in front of the cars and you track that nicely, right? On the floor, we see bullet holes like the type that is meant that was on the car. So clearly you just duplicated it and you put it there and you left it there. That's not the kind of hole that a bullet will make in the floor, because that looks like a metal hole. And I'm saying all of these things because I do this. I've worked on 2 feature films and they are out there, right? I'm not trying to bash them, but I'm just trying to say, if If you guys were doing something like this, that not just people in Nigeria, which honestly, no shade to us, we are dope. We can still tell the lies from the real things. People even outside Nigeria are saying it's a Netflix original from Nigeria. I think it would behoove you to do better VFX. It sucked. It was terrible. There was a car explosion scene. It sucked. Okay, there was a firefight between two different parties. People were dying left and right. I mean, on a normal day, I mean, even the bomb blast a couple of years ago, so many people died from the fear of the bomb blast than the bomb blast itself, right? I've been in areas, I've been in an area where there was a gunshot and everybody scattered, like the place was empty, right? And here, there was all of this happening, and then we just see some guy casually walking away from there. Like, he was on that set and nobody noticed it in post. Nobody noticed it on the Netflix end. It's like Netflix does not even rate us in Nigeria. It's like they're just like, and these people, we accept it, so let's just put it out there. Because what is Bolaji or Toib or Chidike, whatever his name is, what is he doing casually walking away from a scene where so much blood is being shed and bullets are flying left and right? It's like, can someone please explain to me how that went past the post-production internally in the KAV team, and then it went past the Netflix team? Like, someone should be queried for even letting it go through, because that sucked. It was bad. It was, a better job should have been done. You can bash me all you want, but I think it's high time. This is 2021. Even many years ago, we were beginning to set the standard for, or we're looking at ourselves as people who should set the standard for how some of these things should be done. It will behoove us to start. 2021, a Netflix original, it should be better than what we got. I'm just saying it because I was pained to see that and I just had to voice it. Like, it should be done better. That's just the truth. Okay, and then we move on. Next scene, we realize, okay, car exploded, right? And you know, prior to that next scene, this was when Adetaiga's character was in the graveyard with that lady that we always see in the back of her head and her mouth. And I did not understand the reason behind it, because it wasn't a character that we'll find out was a trait or something. It was just some random person later on. It added nothing to the story. There was no suspense there. There was nothing. It added nothing to the story. But then, yes, that scene was pivotal in the sense that she was trying to remind him that those that get close to this woman, this is where they end up, 6 feet under. So I can understand that, and I do appreciate some sort of drama, right? You set up the scene, set up the stage, and do all of that. So I appreciate that. But we go to the next scene. So the next scene now is Boxer. Boxer being set up by Adetaiga, right? And then, like, yo, Tony Tomes, girl, nah, you murdered the role. Like, I was just like, nah, I love this lady. Like, yo, if you and I ever meet, I'm going to get in your personal space and I'll be like, girl, you fire. Like, I really enjoyed her in this scene too. See, in every scene where she appeared, she murdered it. Like, let me just put that out there right now. In any scene she appeared, she just killed it. She did an amazing job, and I really, really like that about her. So now, in that particular scene too, we see that everything was done. Boxer was like, madam, it's not me. Like, my life belongs to you. I am not a snitch. I did not do this. I did not do that. But Adetaiga was, you know, he was just putting one lie on top another lie on top another lie. And at the end of the day, of course, Auntie snapped. It was a younger self that took the reins for that moment where she took the screwdriver and went to town on him, and she murdered him. Okay, now she murdered him. We move on. Then we get to the finale. Now we are at the finale, and when I saw the finale, I was like 1 hour 20 something minutes. Like, this is a full animated movie from Pixar. Like, yo, a lot of time was put into this. A lot of time went into this, and oh yeah, something I need to mention before going into the finale is a lot of times when we see Eniola enter the scene, you know, the way she was brought in with the music Our theme song, I like the fact that they kept it from the very first movie. It just still is shown through in this one. I really enjoyed the music. See, hats off to the music team. Sound design by Dr. Bayo Adekbetun and his team. I think it was really amazing. Hats off to you. You guys did an amazing job. You know, I talked about Dapo being on the Gobir, right? Episodes 1 to 4, we'll hear Gobir's name thrown left, thrown right. You know, Gobir this, Gobir that, speak to Gobir, this Gobir, that Gobir. And I was thinking, honestly, that even if his appearance was not going to be a major one like it was in the first movie, I was thinking bringing Gobir in would feel more, I don't know, heroic. Maybe that's not the right word, but more emphasis will be laid on how he's introduced. But it was just introduced in such a regular way. Start of episode 5. It was just some. I mean, okay. Imagine that scene, right? Imagine if this was season 5, episode 1. We don't know who it is or where it is, but we just see that the camera opens on maybe the flag of Nigeria, right? Or maybe a picture of Buhari, because in every official office you will see like a picture of the president and all that. So, but the camera just opens on something official, maybe the seal of Nigeria, and then, you know, it opens on maybe the pen on the table because Dapo was opposite him. And then, you know, maybe we'll just see like a profile of him, and then we see Gobir himself. You know, that would have been a very sweet intro, in my opinion, compared to just opening up on him like that, and then we just see the interactions between him and Eniola. And honestly, I think more should have been done with his character. I think they did my boy Gobir dirty. Like, yo, it should have been written better too. That's what I think. But I know a lot of the focus in this Return of the King was not on him, so I can understand why he just appeared in. I think he only appeared in episode 5, and that was it for him. I can understand that. Now, we had the finale, right? And all the major players are about to play their hand. See, remember earlier I talked about the old product placement, the hanger, Guinness in a lot of things. Oh yeah, Access Bank also made an appearance, right? But all of these things still sort of felt organic. Now, one that did not feel organic to me was, I forgot the name of the security company, but clearly those guys were sort of like partners or sponsors in a way. And I get it that, yes, they wear their uniforms with the tags in all of these things when she's doing gubernatorial campaigns and all this official stuff. But in this final scene, right, they are in the underground. When they are doing some of their more illegal stuff, why do these guys have their tags on? Like, so it's like, okay, so our company can also loan out guys to you or hire out guys to you guys that are in the underworld. I mean, I think that should have been removed, and someone should have noticed it on set or something, and so it should have been removed, because I get product placement. I get that these people are partners. I mean, it's normal, right? But in some areas, it just, when it gets in the way of the story, I think it's a problem. Remember how Odogwu unloaded so many bullets on Makanaki, right? And he wasted him, and we thought he was dead. But of course, he sort of came back from the dead. It all ties in a way, because, okay, now Makanaki is on a quest for vengeance. I remember I said earlier that I think this thing should have been 5 episodes max. See, while Makanaki's character was strong and properly written in the first part, in this series, they did not do him justice. It was done terribly. Okay, he's sort of back from the dead. And of course, he has the scars. And I like the makeup. Like, the makeup team, good job. You guys did well with the scars and everything. Now, he has the wound and he's back. He goes to the herbalist, the same herbalist that, you know, ringed the neck of the chicken in the first part. He did all of these things. He made him drink something terrible. He put his crown on his head. He said all his enemies should get out of his way and all of that. And he goes ahead to to waste Odogwu. Like, if you think Odogwu shooting him was something, man, the way, I don't think firing squads even unload as much bullets as this guy unloaded on Odogwu when he wasted him. Like, he killed him, he killed his boys, he killed his family, his wife, his 2 boys. Like, it was mad. And you know that line at the end when he said they should cut him into pieces and burn him up, that he does not need any surprises in 5 years. Of course, it was a sort of throwback to himself, because he surprised everybody in 5 years, right? So that was like That was okay, that was fun, that was gangster, that was like, yeah, insane. But then we now find ourselves at the end, the final scene. And in all of these, in the final episode, and in all of this, we find out that, oh, okay, the PA to the First Lady just did a full 180 on her and is telling everybody about all the things that she's done and even some of the things that she did not do. You know, there's trouble in his camp and clearly the governor has lost. And then we see our woman again, Taiwo Ajayi, like I said, she comes and, you know, she just wastes Jumoke. Like she just tells her, you know what, it's over for you. Just you're only at my mercy because of my grandchildren, and if you behave yourself, I'll let you out of this police struggle. I'll pull some strings for you. But it was savage, and I really liked it, and I liked the way that went. And then we now find ourselves, okay, here in the underground. It's the night of the elections. It's looking like Eniola is going to win. It was interesting to see that, okay, now Adetiger shows his true colors. He points the gun at her and all our other people, right, our security team. And she was like, you are doing this thing again when it looks as if you are pointing gun at me. And it turns out that in this case, he's actually pointing gun at her because he has shown his true colors. And he has made it clear to her that you are not loyal to your subject and I'm turning on you. And these people have given me a seat at the table. I mean, that's what Bariba, Charlie Boy said, that these people have given me a seat at the table and it's better than what you've ever offered me. And, you know, she was acting betrayed and all of that. It turns out that, oh, it wasn't a double cross, it was a triple cross because he pretended as if he was on their side, meanwhile it was on Eniola's side all along, but he pretended as if he turned on Eniola in front of them. And you know, it was all guns blazing, Makanaki's team came in, they shut up the place, killed everybody, you know, with Oju Bariga barely hanging on for his life and all that. I think that was a cop-out again. I think that was poorly executed. I think this was terribly written. Because look, while she made the statement that yesterday's enemy can become today's friend, right? I understand that. Well, I understand that. There was no need, like really, there was no need for the two of you to coexist in the same world. You need to remember that this boy was the reason for all your troubles in the first place. And it's the reason why you lost your kids. Yes, I played this part, but dude is the reason why your kids were killed. That was why I said it earlier that this guy, Adetiger, should have been who she told, you are going to be the king of the underworld. You control the underworld while I control the city. There was, see, the entire arc for Makanaki should have ended with him dying if the king of boys, Eniola, was meant to stay alive. It shouldn't have ended with him being the king of the underground because, okay, if he was supposed to be the king of the underground all along and him and Eniola were supposed to make nice all along, then why did we have to go through all that stuff with him, with the herbalist? Why did we even need to kill Odogu? Odogu was ordered by Eniola to kill him. So Eniola is his enemy. Like, Odogu's family did not need to be murdered. Like, when you really think about it, Odogu's family did not need to be murdered. Like, nothing, all that wasting bullets on him, like firing squad, shouldn't have happened in the first place. And okay, now that, I mean, at this point, maybe you've even left the video, but if you have stuck with me to this point, thank you. Now listen to this. Okay, what of Boxer? Boxer was loyal to Eniola, but she killed him because of the setup from Adetiger. Adetiger set Boxer up, so she set the poor guy up, and she stabbed him with a screwdriver. So what becomes of Boxer? Like really, they did my boy Boxer dirty. Like, why? Okay, so why did he need to die? At what point did Adetiger confess to her? Did he confess from the very beginning? Because, you know, there was something he wanted to tell her, but the Agnes lady, that's the maid, came in and she interrupted them. So did she tell him from then? Then why did Boxer have to die? Because there was no establishment. Boxer was just meant to be a scapegoat, and that much was said. There was no establishment between him, or an establishment of a relationship between him and the array. So why did Boxer die? By the way, a moment of silence for my boy Boxer. Yeah, hashtag justice for Boxer, because Boxer did not need to be killed. If all along Eniola knew that this guy was playing double agent and it was going to be a double cross, done triple cross, Boxer shouldn't have died, because Boxer was loyal. Boxer was one of the few people that got away with his life and during the firefight, and still found a way to get to her, to get to them, and then that night he got murdered. He shouldn't have been killed. That's what I'm saying. Like all that. That's why I felt that ending was a cop-out. I know a lot of people are crazy about it and they are loving it, and it's this and it's that. But that ending again, the same way the ending in the first movie was like a cop-out, because the ending in the first movie, it was good. She wasn't a mastermind. She was just a thug who relied on some sort of false strength, old glory, and the mercy of others. And that was what happened again this time around, because this guy had all the cards in his hands. That's Makanaki's character. So what benefit was it for him to make a deal with her? He could have easily just killed her and still taken the crown, like he wanted to do in the very first part. So, okay, why did he change his mind? What was his motivation for not wanting to kill her between the first part and the second part? I mean, this woman ordered the hit on your life. You lost an eye. You were pretty much almost dead. You went to the herbalist to do all of that it should be a downfall. It should be Odogumale's downfall and all the other people that are in your way. You did all of that. So why did we do all of that for Makanaki if at the end of the day, he was still going to bow down in front of her and say, no, I will not sit down before you sit down. And then he sat, and then she sat. What was the entire reason for all that? So that's my thing. So see, there were areas where this series excelled with some of the characters. I mean, Nsekwe Etim's character, Jumoke Rando, amazing. I mean, I will say it again, Tony Tones, girl, I really loved her. Sola Sobowale, of course, she was fire. I really loved her. And I'm guessing I'm not the only one that missed it. That maybe you just saw, especially with the way Nsekwe Etim was carrying herself, you know, the Jumoke character was carrying herself, and you're like, damn, I miss Kemi. Like, I miss Adesuwa Itomi's character. Because the two of them, they would have given each other style for style, grammar for grammar, everything for everything, me and you against each other. Like, I missed her character in this series. So, overall, this series, yes, it shows that there's a lot of hope and future potential for the Nigerian film industry. Obviously, right? Are we there yet? Hell no. Because compared to our music videos are already breaking barriers that our movies have not even started. Of course, yes, in Africa, Nollywood is the shit, yes, but we want to be in the same room as Hollywood. I'm guessing that, like, that's, I mean, when I start making films proper, from short films to feature films, that's where I want to be. I want to be in the same room with these guys and, you know, them viewing my work and all that. So when you do stuff like that, it's like, you know, with the way the VFX went and some parts of the story, it's like Netflix did not just rate us. And I don't want to make this a black or white thing, but I noticed, I mean, a lot of crap like this also happened with production quality with A Fall from Grace. Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace. Now, I'm not taking anything from the man. The man is amazing. He has a film city in the US. I mean, the man has done amazingly well for himself. I respect him, right? But A Fall from Grace had so many mistakes that someone should have flagged, you understand? And the same thing happened in this one. Like, the VFX was just egregiously bad. It was terrible. So that's the thing. There were areas where it excelled, and it showed that our film industry has a lot of promise. I am looking forward to it. And there were areas where it just flat out sucked. This thing should have been 5 episodes maximum. You know, that's The King of Boys, Return of the King. Should have been 5 episodes maximum. I think they would have told a much more concise story, and maybe they would have used some of that budget for the VFX to actually do a much better job. I don't know whether there was a time constraint or whatever it is, but honestly, man, if it's not good to go, I don't think it should ever be released. That's my personal opinion when it comes to anything. Video games, we know how we get bugs and all of those things, and it just ruins everybody's image of that company, and the next time the company releases something, you don't want to buy from them because your trust has been eroded. And the same thing applies in this case too. I mean, Netflix original, and it had this sort of messed up shoddy VFX. I don't think that should have been the case. I expected better. That's just my personal opinion. Overall, The King of Boys, Return of the King was a good watch. It wasn't amazing, not for me. It wasn't terrible, no. It was a good watch. So it did not feel like I wasted well over 8 hours of my life because that was a lot of time. I have a fresh memory of the 2018 movie and I have the fresh memory of everything from the series. So it don't feel like I wasted my life. It was good to watch, and I am looking forward to, of course, more stuff. I'm looking forward to reviewing more Nigerian stuff on the channel. The King of Boys, Return of the King gets a 6/10 from us here at GVN. Now, let us know what you think in the comment section down below. I am really looking forward to your responses. We are happy to respond. Let us know what you think. Feel free to share this video, like, subscribe. A lot of work has gone into creating this. Trust me, you need to see my notes. I know I'm talking a lot from my brain right now, but I made like 5 pages of this thing in order to just give a very, very accurate depiction of what I have seen. So I am looking forward to seeing all of that down in the comment section. Check out this video or this video next to see some of our other dope reviews on the channel. It's been your boy Tech for GVN. Enjoy the rest of your day or your night. Peace.